So before making such kind of investment decision, a lot of internal processes are to be dealt in so as to arrive to the final answer whether we should or the organization should invest or not. Some of the examples of capital budgeting includes are acquiring new machinery or replacing current machinery. Also, it could be launching a new product, or it could also be spending on certain research and development projects. So, why capital budgeting is important? So, the capital budgeting is significant because a lot of capital is tied up in any long-term project, and the principle of capital budgeting can also be used in making operating decisions such as investment in working capital and acquisition of other companies. For example, suppose a organization is planning to invest in a company X, which is in the business of online retail sales, and the current organization want to increase their exposure into the online retail business. So they would be uh, there might be certain factors that has to be taken into account, such as how much capital would be involved in undertaking such a acquisition, or you can say a company is looking forward to upgrade its machinery, existing machinery with increased capability with a higher cost. So it organization would uh, want to make an inference whether the current purchase of new machinery is feasible or not. So this becomes important in case of capital budgeting. Now, what are the kind of capital budgeting projects? So the projects includes, it could be a replacement project, replacement in sense an existing replacement of machinery. It could be an extension project, for example upgrading the current infrastructure of the organization. It could be a new product and services, or it could be a regulatory safety or environmental project such as installation of water treatment plant within the organization as per regulatory norms. Now there are certain points that are taken into account while doing any kind of capital budgeting, and the main parameters that are to be considered are whether finding the net present value of that particular project, and also finding the internal rate of return while investing in any kind of project. So what is net present value? For a project with investment outflow which occurs at the beginning of the project, the net present value is the present value of future after tax cash flow minus the investment outflow. In short, net present value measures the amount in monetary terms that is a project is expected to add to a company wealth. For example, we have a outlay of say $10,000, and then we have a inflow of cash in the form of $2,500 for next 5 years in that particular project. So that inflow of cash in the coming years has to be taken into account at the current time, that is the time value of the current time value, and we need to identify the net present value of the cash inflows. Now there are certain decision parameters that are taken into account while considering whether the project is feasible or not based on NPV, that is net present value. The very first being is net present value should be greater than zero. Net present value with negative values must not be undertaken. That is, any project which gives a NPV of negative should not be taken into account, and NPV equals to zero has no impact on wealth creation. So other factors are to be considered in such cases. The second parameter is the internal rate of return. So for a project with only one investment outflow, which occurs at the beginning of the project, internal rate of return is the discount rate, which makes the sum of present value of future cash flow equal to initial investment outlay. So basically, it is the return that one achieve while uh, while undergoing a capital investment. For example, if someone makes an investment of say $1 lakh, so what would be the return from the cash flows the that the individual will have? So what is the decision rule for IRR? So IRR should always be greater than the required rate of return. And then there comes a parameter where two mutually exclusive projects have to be identified and a decision is to be made. So that is which project is to be taken. So in case of mutually exclusive project, there is a simple solution, that is when NPV and IRR for rank two mutually exclusive projects differently, the project with highest NPV must be chosen. Then there is payback period, discount payback period, and profitability index. So we would be taking care of all of these in one of our Excel examples that I would be taking up. Okay, so it will be much um, easy for us to understand what each and every point means. So there is a case scenario for us. It says, for example, there is an investment in a capital project with initial investment outlay of $30 million, which generates a after tax cash flow of in year 1 as 10 million, then in year 2 as 14, and subsequently in year 3 as 18. And we have a required rate of return as 10%. We need to determine its net present value and internal rate of return. So let's begin. So say we have a required rate of return as 10%. Our initial outlay is 30 million. So let me just put the value. So our initial outlay is 30 million. So whenever we take into account investment, there is a outflow of cash, and outflow is always represented with a negative value. Then we have cash flow in year 1 as 10 million. So transfer 5, we have 10 million in the year 1. We have 14 million in year 2, and then we have 18 million in year 3. So these are our cash flow. So we need to find out the present value of cash flow. So what is the present value of cash flow? There is a formula that we use. We need to calculate the present value for each of the year. Okay. So in the first year we have 10 million, in second year we have 14 million, and in the third year we have 18 million. So cash present value could be calculated using the internal formula in Excel, within the Excel, that is PV. Now we need to define our rate, the net period, that is the first period. Since there is no part payment, so part payment will be 0, and our future value is 10 million. So it will bring down this 10 million to our current value, and we are getting a negative because present value always calculate the number in negative. So let me just put a negative sign before it. So for year 1, the 10 million value for that is the cash inflow in current year is this much. Now let me just lock in some of the values so that we could calculate cash present value of cash flow in the subsequent year. Okay, so in the subsequent year we will have cash inflows as this and this, and our total net present value will be sum of cash inflows. It should be minus the initial outlay. However, we have a negative sign for outlay, so we will take into account plus sign in here. So this is our net present value for these cash flows. There is a formula, NPV formula within the application, that is within Excel, which could also calculate the net present value. So NPV goes, we need to define rate, and we need to identify all the values. So we need to calculate the present value in such a case, and then we need to add in the outlay. So we get the same value in both the cases. And for IAR, that is the return, internal rate of return, we have the formula as IAR and the values. Okay. So, okay. So these are the formulas. Let me just paste it as values. Okay. So my Control C, Control Alt. Okay. My internal rate of return would be, these are my values. So my internal rate of return for this particular scenario would be 17%. Now, there was a slide which says payback period. So a project's payback period equals the time it takes for initial investment for a project to be recovered through after tax cash flow from a project. That is, how much time does it takes for a organization to get even out from for its outlay of cash. So let's take up an example. Suppose we have cash flows, we have an outlay or outflow of cash flow as $1,000, and then there were inflows in the subsequent year. So our cumulative cash flow will be, in year 0 we didn't have any cash in here. For second year, our cash flow is, we had a total cash inflow of 250, so we are remaining with just 750, and we just drag it. So the organization gets even out, that is they have a positive cash flow in year 4. So our payback period can then be calculated as, since we had a positive cash flow in year 4, so we'll take one period before the cash flow, and then we will divide the cumulative cash flow with the actual cash flow. So in that case, our payback period is 3 years and some months. Now, if we want to calculate discounted cash flow, so what is discounted? We need to bring into account the present value of all the cash flows. So the present value for a rate of 10% for a period 0 for 0 PMT, and a future value. In this case, our present value will be same as our initial cash outlay. I will add a negative sign in here, and I will just log this percentage, the rate of return required, so that I just have to drag it. So once I drag it, I get the values of cash inflows. Okay, and what would be my then cumulative inflow of cash in year 1? This will be my cumulative cash inflow, and in the subsequent years, we have a negative discounted cash flow, and we get a positive value in year 5. So our discounted cash flow, the definition goes, the discounted payback period equals to the number of years it takes for cumulative discounted cash flow for the project to equal the project's initial investment outlay. So our discounted payback period will then be, since we have our initial positive cash inflow in year 5, so we'll take into account one period prior to initial cash inflow, and then we will divide the discounted cash flow by the last year cash inflow. So our discounted cash payback period now becomes 3.92. That is, it's 3 years and some months. Okay, and discounted payback period is always greater than payback period. Now, these were the simple examples wherein we have calculated the net present value, the internal rate of return. Then we have a scenario wherein we need to identify which project is feasible for an organization. So there is a case. The case is a company is considering to the replacement of its existing machine. There are two alternate available to buy a machine with similar, which is similar to existing machine, that is machine A, or to buy a machine which is more expensive and has greater capacity, that is machine B. We need to calculate the net present value, the IRR, and its profitability index. Okay, so we had a missing point. What is profitability index? The profitability index of an investment equals present value of project's future cash flow divided by initial investment. Okay, so machine A cost was 25, so it was an outflow, so we take into account minus in here. And machine B, which was of more value than machine A, has a cash outflow of 40, and then these are our subsequent cash inflows. So the present value, we will calculate present value accordingly. And since we haven't defined any rate, so let's say we have a required rate of return again as 10% in here. Okay, so the formula again goes same. We calculate present value, we define rate. Okay, and we take into account the period. We do not have any part payment, and our future value is, that is cash outlay. Again, we need to put a negative sign in here, and then we could calculate the values accordingly. Okay, so since there was no cash flow, so the present value for the cash flow is 0 in here. The $5 has a present value of 4.13, $20 has a present value of 15.03. Similarly, we will calculate the present value for machine 2. So again, we will use the formula present value. We will define the rate, the period, since there is no part payment, and our future value be 40. Okay, let me just put again a negative sign, and let me just drag. So net present value for machine A then will be sum of cash inflow plus initial outflow. So the present value for this inflows is 12.41, and in the same way the present value for machine B, let me just copy this, and it will give me the same answer. Okay, and net present value for machine B is 13.61. Okay, I mentioned A in here, so it's for B. Okay, and our internal rate of return for machine A will be then the cash flows. So internal rate of return for machine A is 12%, and then internal rate of return for B is 11. So in this case, we have different cases, but as there is a decision rule that we should always take into account net present value, the project which has a higher net present value, and we should select that project. So net present value in this case for machine B is higher than net present value of A. Okay, and then we have this profitability index. So the profitability index could be calculated as sum of cash outflow divided by sum of cash inflows, present value of sum of cash inflows divided by cash outflow. So we have a negative. Since we have a negative in here, it is giving a negative value. I just add a minus sign. So in case of PI, our profitability index is 1.5, and for machine B, we have 1.34. So the one with higher profitability index should be considered in case you need a replacement of the project. Now, again, there is a sensitivity analysis, that is, we take into account a change in our return, that is the required rate of return, and then we calculate the cash flows and also other uh, points such as the revenue. So we have a scenario wherein there is a company which has developed a computer game with an initial investment of say some one stands $2 lakh. Now the price per unit of game is 70, and there is a cost associated with the development of that game, that is 20 per unit. There was a fixed cost that was incurred during the development of the project. So our cost of capital then would be 2 lakhs. Say we are planning to increase our sale on yearly basis by 15%. So this will be our required rate of return. Our rate say is 10%. Okay. Now in the we will take into account initial outlay 0. Then there are, say, for the next 5 years, we are taking into account what would be the cash flows. Okay. uh okay, so mm, so unit sold, that is the price per unit for each product. That is, units sold are, okay, I haven't mentioned how many units are sold. So say we are selling 2000 units in year 1, again 2000 units in year 2, then there is a decrease in number of units sold in year 3, and in subsequent year we have a reduction in number of units sold. Okay. Or we could say the percent of sales. So we can say it is 15% of a capital amount. Okay. Anything you could take into account, anything. Okay. Total sales would then be number of units sold into price of each unit. Okay. So this is our cash inflows. Okay. So this is a profit, that is our total cash inflow. I could have just taken into account 17 here and then just multiplied it accordingly. And cost per unit being, say, we have cost per unit as 20. Okay. So our initial outlay would then be this particular account. Okay. So our incremental revenue is then again the same. Our variable cost is, it is says that our variable cost is $20 per unit sold. So we take into account 20 into number of units sold. This is a variable cost, and we have a fixed cost of 50,000. So our total cash flow is then revenue minus variable cost minus our fixed cost. So this is what we are getting into account as a revenue. So in year 5, we do not have any cash flow because our expense exceeded our total revenue, or it was equal to our total revenue. So we calculate our present value then. So the present value would be then our rate, then period, zero payment, and there was a initial outlay of 2 lakhs. Okay, so this will be our cash, present value of cash flows. Okay, okay, I haven't logged in. I need to, okay, here we have to again do the calculation. Present value, cash rate again is being 10%, period being first period, zero payment, and there was a cash inflow of 50,000. Okay, so let me just add a negative sign and just drag it. So again we could calculate our net present value. So net present value will then be sum of cash inflows minus total outlay. So in this case we have a negative net present value, so the project is not feasible. Also we will have our internal rate of return calculation similarly for the cash inflows. Okay, again we have a negative return, so this particular project is not feasible. So this is the way we could do our calculations of sensitivity analysis. Okay, now in this particular scenario we have scenarios such as depreciation also. So the case says a company is considering to invest in a new project with the following info, that is their initial outlay would be $10 million, and then there will be inflow and the subsequent year as sales, in year 1 being 10, in year 2 12, in year 3 8, and in year 4 as 6. There is a operating cost associated with the same, that is 30% of total sales. The depreciation method that is being considered is double declining method with the salvage value of 0.4 million and a useful life of 4 years. We have a tax rate of 40% and cost of capital, that is required rate of return, is 10%. We need to calculate again the net present value and IRR along with the cash inflows from the project. So our the cost of our project is again then 10 million. Okay, the salvage value is 0.4 million. Okay, useful life of the project is 4 years. The cost of capital is 10%. Okay, this is our initial year. So initial cash outlay is again the negative of the cost of the project. Okay, we will calculate the operating cost in the subsequent year, and we will calculate the depreciation of this particular project in the subsequent year. So say there are we are going to have sales in the next 4 years. Okay, so our sales being sales in first year is again 10 million. Okay, sales in second year is 12 million. Okay, in year 3 it's 8 million, and in year 4 you have a total sales of 6 million. Okay, I have taken sorry, I have taken 8 in here, it should be 6. Okay, okay, now what is our operating cost? So it says it's 30% of sales, so just take 30% of total sales. So this is our cost associated with the cash inflows. Okay, now we need to calculate depreciation, and since it's double declining method we need a double declining factor, and in case of double declining depreciation method the factor remains to be 2. Use the internal formula for calculating the depreciation. So the depreciation formula goes DDB for double declining. We provide with the cost of, okay, the salvage value, useful life, and the period, that is the first period, and the factor. Okay, so in our first year we have a total depreciation amounting 5 lakhs, okay, for this particular project. Let me just log some of the cells, say, okay, in this case I must have taken the cost as sales cost. No, the depreciation will remain same for all the years. Okay, so the cost will be logged. Sorry, let me just log the cost first, the salvage value, useful life, period will expand in the coming year, and the factor will again remain locked. So the depreciation amounting in the subsequent year will then be accordingly. Okay, so what is our earning before interest and tax? So our earning is total sales minus our operating cost minus our depreciation. So this is our earning before interest and tax. And how much is the tax applicable? It is 40% of our earning. So again, take 40%, multiply it to our sales EBITDA. So total tax being this much for each subsequent year. So our total gross profit then would be earning before interest and tax minus the tax amount. So this is our gross profit for year 1, and subsequently our gross profit for year 2, 3, and 4 for this particular scenario. Now depreciation is a non-cash item, so it is to be again added back to get our, okay, to get our net profit. So let me just take into account the depreciation value in here, okay, and we'll add it again back to our gross profit to get a net profit. So then our net profit will be gross profit plus our depreciation. Okay, so this is what we are getting in as cash inflows. Now let's calculate the present value and find out whether the project was giving us a positive net present value or not. So again, we will use the present value function of formula PV, the rate, comma, the initial year, we do not have any part payment, and we have a future value, that is cash outlay. Okay, and then let me just log some of the things. For example, let me log, okay, let me calculate again PV in here because I have to use the function in here. So PV rate, let me log the rate, then period, there is no part payment, and a future value, that is the net profit. Okay, and let me just add a negative sign so that we get a positive value all the time. Okay, now, so in this case, what would be our net present value? So we'll calculate NPV as sum of cash inflows minus, and since we have a negative in here, we will add, we will use plus sign here, and the cash outflow. So for this particular project wherein there was an initial investment of 10 million with subsequent sales, the net present value came out to be around 43 million. Okay, and internal rate of return for this particular project then will be then 85%. So this was a project which provided with the maximum return. Okay, and then we calculate the internal rate of return. Internal rate of return is net present value divided by total cost. Okay, so NPV, that is net present value divided by the total cost, incurred. So a return on investment in this case is coming out to be 436%. So this is something extraordinary. I must have taken some wrong value in here, which is giving me such a number. Okay, I have taken 5, okay, 6, and this is okay. This was something wrong which I took. So we were getting such a large number. Okay. So when an initial investment of 10 million and with the sales, we had a negative net present value, negative internal rate of return, and also negative return on interest. So this particular project is now should be considered not feasible for the organization. Okay, so this is how you could calculate your cash inflows in case of capital budgeting, and also the net present value, the internal rate of return, and also the return on investment. So now I'm open to questions. If anyone of you have any questions with regard to any formula or any uh, functional aspect, please put forward and I will answer the same. Any question with regard to net present value or payback period? Okay. So this concludes our session on capital budgeting, cash flow computation in capital budgeting. Thank you for being part of BISP and being attending this particular session on cash flow computation in capital budgeting.